So I found myself in an idyllic spot here, as you can see, in Boulder, and I just wanted to talk about why connecting to our true nature, remembering our true nature, the nature of our being, becomes so important in our life. Why is it important to recognize our true nature? And so I wanted to explore that a little bit, to dive into that from my experience, from my lived experience of why, what it has changed in my life to realize my true nature of being, to recognize that what is at the core of me is never changing, abiding happiness and peace. But this emptiness as well that is so rich, so full of intuitive wisdom. And in my experience, why it is so important to come home to our being, to come home to presence, is that it quietens down the egoic impulse for external results, right? The egoic impulse to have external things and to believe that external things are what ultimately fulfills us, what ultimately makes us happy, right? It quietens that impulse more and more as you recognize your true nature of being, as you come home to being, as you remember that what is you is this loving awareness of being that is simply the precursor, the the source of experience arising. When you recognize that that's who you are, and you begin to feel this subtle yet immersive peace um, come more and more as an integrated experience in your life, and you start seeing that nothing that you chase or nothing that you will experience in terms of objects in your life or things that you will get will fulfill you as much as resting in that being and living life from that being. And that is important, right? It's not just about the resting in that being. It's not just about the resting in our true nature. It is also to live from that, to love from that, to lead from that, right? And that is my intention in my life, is what I've recognized to be true is also what is true for everyone else, right? When I see someone, when I meet someone, I recognize that within them, that who's really speaking is the true nature of our being, the true nature that we all share, right? That's what's really speaking. That's what's really within them. And why it is so important to live from your true nature, to recognize your true nature, is that it creates a sense of unity and connection with others. Uh, Relationally speaking, it opens up a whole new world, right? Because as long as you believe that you are separate from life, that you're disconnected from life, that you are here, this individual, and life is out there, and it's a dangerous, somehow unsafe world that you have to navigate. As long as you believe that deep down, uh, you will try to control life, to shift life into your favor, because you feel deep down an anxiety that life won't work out if you don't try to control it. But when you recognize your true nature in an irreversible kind of meaningful way, it changes that perspective in you, and you start having this deep faith and inner knowing that you're carried and you're guided, and there's something taking care of you, and that you're not alone, right? And that creates within you this internal system of safety, right? And this unity and connection to others, because again, the more attuned you become to the presence of our being, the more you see and realize that in others, even if they don't see and realize that themselves, right? You become attuned to it, you feel it, right? Your intuition expands in a deeply profound, meaningful way. And when you recognize your true nature of being, this unshakable, unchanging awareness of being that is who you are, it becomes way easier to open your heart and to love others deeply and to serve others, because as I said, there's less of a experience perceived, more and more separation that you feel from others, right? It is not you against them. It is not this hyper competitive, I need to make it and I need to make sure others don't before me. There's more of this deep innate knowing that everyone is rooted and centered in that nature of our being, right? And you could call it consciousness or essence or God, right? But it is that nature of your being that everyone is rooted in. And when you truly see that, your desire to serve others and to lead with kindness and an upending and never-ending patience becomes like a natural instinct in you. It is not something you try, and this is why I think to recognize your true nature of being becomes more important than all the mindset work and inner work you do, because all of that is still done by the personal self. The personal self that thinks somehow it is separate from life and it needs to work on itself to become better, to somehow navigate the journey of life in a better way. And while the work we do on ourselves is meaningful and impactful, mm, the recognition of our true nature uh, is the only thing that can really open you up to this instinct to serve, this instinct to love meaningfully and deeply, this instinct to be so present and embrace another in your presence as a way to remind them that they're safe, and as a way to open within them the spiritual instinct to rest as their true nature, to know their true nature, to recognize their true nature of safety and well-being and inner peace, right? That instinct to serve becomes bigger, and that desire to be so in integrity with other beings becomes like something you can't, the more and more you root in that being, in that nature of your being, it becomes almost unavoidable, right? Because you see through the fallacy of ego, you see through what the ego wants and how the ego wants to perceive itself as separate and get things for themselves. You begin to see through it. The facade of ego becomes more and more noticeable, and you will instinctually not be drawn to that. You will be instinctually and naturally be drawn to serve, right? And to meet others with an open heart, and to meet others with patience, with compassion, with depth, with a depth and care that maybe they've never been met with before in their family life, in their upbringing. And you notice that you offering your presence and care from that depth of recognition of being, because you realize the being of nature, the nature of being is within them. You are able to facilitate a healing in others by simply being seen, by simply being recognized, by feeling the way you relate to them, that they matter, right? Even if they have wounds and pains within them that make them feel like they don't matter, right? So in my experience, the most pivotal transformation within you is this natural instinct to love, this natural instinct to serve, this natural instinct to provide a profound presence to those around you, and that will serve you in all aspects of life, because the most important aspects of life are relational, right? And when you can feel a deeper sense of unity and connection, right? When you're not the one that has to be right, but you're the one that simply holds a space of presence, right? Maintains that space of presence for another to be seen, to be heard, to be received, right? That in itself becomes nourishing to you. That in itself becomes fulfilling to you. And you begin to not need that much more than that. Then recognizing your true nature, expressing yourself in your fullness and in your from that true nature and through the filter of your personality. And number three is this desire to serve, this desire to love, this desire to support, this desire to be a healing pillar of your community begins to expand within you, right? Begins to expand within you. And most people, they're somehow wanting to achieve success, and they do everything to achieve some kind of personal success. But what you will find when you are rooted and centered in your true nature of being and in that recognition, you will be radiantly authentic, or more so authentic, and you will hold a calm, steady presence that offers others the ability to feel safe with you, which is incredibly meaningful. And from that, your life will unfold in a beautiful way, because so much of life is relational. You will find the vocation, the purpose that you are here to embody. You will not chase any kind of external success. You will live more radiantly through and as that embodiment of love that radiates and emanates from your true nature, and that will inspire and inform your actions. And you'll see where you go from there, and you trust life and you have faith that everything always works out for you.